The UK economy shrinks for the first time in more than 6 years, raising fears of a recession.
Another recession? We're already halfway there according to the latest official data. The UK economy contracted by 0.2% in the second quarter of 2019, the first quarterly drop in activity since 2012. Another 3 months of contraction, and that meets the technical definition of recession. So how big is that threat? The latest quarter's output has been artificially depressed by firms stockpiling before the original 29th of March Brexit deadline. But many analysts see a weakening trend amid the volatility, with business investment on the floor because of Brexit uncertainty and slumping global growth too due to Donald Trump's trade wars. If the economy does take a downward lurch, how might Boris Johnson respond? What rockets could this prime ministerial advocate of economic boosterism fire off? And how does this play into his do-or-die Brexit policy? First, what do we know about Boris Johnson's economic approach? He's been relaxed about rising public borrowing. In the recent leadership campaign, he made unfunded tax cuts and spending promises that added up to a figure north of £30 billion. There's talk of an emergency booster budget in early October, alongside a one-year spending review for Whitehall departments. Allies of the Prime Minister are explicit that he wants to fire up the economy by ending the decade of austerity and, in their words, getting Britain ready for Brexit.
We should look at pulling a whole number of different levers. I think committing to further cuts in corporation tax would be good. I think doing more for the tax bills of individuals as well, particularly like the idea of raising the threshold before people pay national insurance contributions. That would lift a lot more people out of tax altogether.
But is the kind of fiscal loosening that Mr. Johnson has been advocating something that would actually help the economy in a short-term downturn?
The sorts of policies he's talked about, hiring more police officers, extra money for schools, cuts to income tax or national insurance contributions, will all take some time to feed through and to affect the economy and affect people's spending. If what you want is a very short-term boost to the economic activity, what you need is policies that are going to make people feel richer and have more to spend quickly, or perhaps policies like a temporary VAT cut that give people an incentive to get out, go to the shops and spend their money now.
And monetary policy? Interest rate cuts? More money printing? That's up to the Independent Bank of England. But could we see Donald Trump-style pressure brought to bear on the central bank for stimulus?
It's always dangerous for politicians to put pressure on central banks. If anything, that might backfire because central banks rightly protect their independence. But I think it's pretty clear which way the Bank of England would respond. I think it'll be in a similar way to what happened in 2016. So rather than raising interest rates to defend the pound or to choke off inflationary pressures, they focused instead on the weakness in the real economy. They actually cut interest rates and announced additional quantitative easing.
Regardless of their views on how precarious the economy is at the moment, most analysts believe a no-deal Brexit rupture would likely tip the UK into a recession. So, in the end, perhaps the most important economic policy question is whether signs of economic turbulence over the coming months, a falling pound, sliding stock markets, job losses, could affect Boris Johnson's strategy of Brexit by the 31st of October at any costs.
Public opinion is clearly affected by weak economic performance, and therefore it's quite likely that it will feed through into the political debate and into the decisions that the government makes, but it's difficult to know exactly how it might impact on their decisions.
If anything, if the economic news does continue to deteriorate, then it may well be that he wants to be even stronger in terms of boosting the economy through fiscal policy. And I think the Bank of England would want to respond in the same way. I certainly don't think it's going to cause a rethink of Brexit policy, and clearly the political commitment to leave is so strong that it's going to happen come what may.
So, back off or double down?